Hello everyone, Intuitive Edge here. Tonight we're going to look at the Sunspot Observatory in New Mexico. We're going to look at what's going on down there. From reports in the news and in the media, there was a space observatory that was suddenly shut down by the feds, by the FBI, and also the post office next door or close by to it was also closed, and they're being tight-lipped. They're not even telling the local sheriff or anybody really what's going on. So there's a lot of wild speculation going on. There's a lot of people having lots of questions, and so far nobody's getting really any straight answers. So we're going to take a look at that. So I'm going to take a few moments and shuffle up the cards, and we'll be right back. All right, so I shuffled up the cards. Let's go ahead and cut the deck. Okay, so this might be a little long. I'm going to try to get through these quickly, but I had a lot of questions, and rather than just do a generic spread, I went ahead and put together 10 questions that I have. Some of these questions might overlap, and I figured that was okay because if they do, it'll maybe give some added clarity as to what is going on down there and what the situation is. So let's start with the first 3 questions. So the first question I wrote down is, why did the FBI need to get involved? And with this card, initially, what the feeling I get with that is that there was something nefarious going on, and it's like the FBI was getting involved to counter something that was not good. And I know this may sound vague, so we'll try to get more clarity as we go, but the feeling I get is that there's something happening there that they had to gain control of and get the upper hand on and get it quickly. It feels like they were alerted to something and they tracked it for a short time and decided that the best course of action was to take a direct involvement and get on top of the situation quickly to avoid whatever it was that they were alerted to from gaining further influence. Okay, we'll see what else we can get on these questions. Why was the observatory shut down? So I hear the word surveillance. There is something about the observatory being used for surveillance, and they had to gain control over that facility before. Okay, it has something to do with spying. There's some sort of there was some way that observatory was being used to spy. Maybe by foreign agents. Maybe it got hacked. Maybe there was some there was something to do with spying, and it was not good. It was of a dark nature. So somebody hacked it, maybe a foreign government, maybe some other, maybe China, Russia, I don't know. I'm not going to jump there at this point, but this just feels like there was some sort of hacking or spying going on, and it got compromised somehow. Okay, and that's why the FBI is involved. So this feels like more national security. Okay. Why the post office? I don't know that yet. We'll see as we go. Okay, next question. So what is the hidden? All right, so what's going on that's hidden that we don't see outright? What's kind of going on behind the scenes? That's this question. So we have, okay, so there was something being built. So this observatory was being used to, there was something being built, whether it was a spy network, whether it was some sort of inroads to compromise something within the United States. Something was being planned and built, and so I feel like this kind of like this was like putting a stop to whatever was being built. Okay, something was being created and built. All right, let's take a look at the next line of questions here. So question 4, what is the obstacle? This feels like the obstacle has something to do with taking down a network of sorts. This is about dismantling. The obstacle they face feels like that this was a coordinated effort, and I'm talking the effort that initially that the FBI is countering. Okay, the FBI came in, they're trying to counter something that was being built and started, and it has to do with surveillance and spying. The obstacle that the FBI has is this feels like there's a coordination with perhaps more than one. It's like there was like a network being set up, so it's not just, it's a little, I think it goes a little deeper. It has a little deeper reach. It has a little broader scope, and so that's the obstacle, at least in terms of them having to get the upper hand, is it goes a little deeper than just what is perhaps on the surface. Okay. So the next question is, why has the town been evacuated? Basically, I mean, a good part of it at least. Honestly, I think that there were some people in the town that might have been spies. That's very possible. Maybe they were, the FBI is trying to disrupt this network, this spy network, and it feels like they got people out of there because they didn't maybe know who might be, and again, I don't know, I don't know if they're interviewing people that lived in the town, but it feels like they had to get to kind of have a secure parameter to maybe do a sweep, a surveillance sweep, and see how far these networks go. And forgive me, I don't, I'm not a technical person that knows that kind of stuff. I'm getting impressions, so I'm doing my best to try to explain what I'm feeling, and hopefully it makes sense. So, but that's what I'm getting. It feels like, and I think that too, that perhaps the people might have either been in danger, or they just didn't want the townspeople to be in any kind of danger. Anyway, all right, we'll move on. Okay, next question, does this have anything to do with, the sun? Was there something being observed on the observatory in outer space? Does it have to do with aliens? I mean, people are asking these kinds of questions. So, this card to me feels like they're dealing with something that could be of a tricky nature, but it feels more immediate. It doesn't feel like it's somewhere out in space. It feels like it's more down to earth, more immediate, more something that's tangible. So I think it's probably more earth-centered, earthbound. Okay, all right, let's keep going. Next line of questions. So the next question, does this have anything to do with foreign governments? My initial thought is that is probably the case. This is a card of things happening quickly, but also being thwarted and on the run at the same time. So I do think it's possible that there was some foreign actors involved, foreign spy agencies involved. That's just a guess. That's my thoughts on it. But it feels like this is like it took a turn, and so this is changing direction, changing direction. I do, you know what? I'm getting a strong feeling that there is something to do with a foreign government that was using or perhaps compromised that facility. Now, how they did that, I don't know. It just, that's the feeling I get, is that it did have to do with that. Okay, all right. What do we need to know? I'm also feeling, back to this for a second, I'm also feeling that somehow New Mexico was strategic. It was like that place was very purposefully selected by the bad actors that did this thing. Whatever they did, they compromised it somehow. But that selection in that area was very specifically targeted. So, it's in New Mexico. Who knows? There's lots of stuff that goes on down there. I don't know how far it is from Area 51 in Nevada. I know there's lots of covert type government stuff that goes on in Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada. And for some reason, this place in New Mexico was very strategically selected. Okay, just had to throw that out there. So what do we need to know? What is about this? So what we need to know, this actually feels like there's something being done. Like, it does feel like the government is taking steps to secure that facility again and to bring it back under. This feels like it could have gotten out of hand very quickly. And perhaps it did for a short time, but it feels like this is kind of changing direction and shifting back to the good guys, if you want to say, so to speak. They're getting back some element of control over what could have been a pretty bad situation. Okay. All right, what will be the outcome? So ultimately, this feels like kind of a blight on our security. This feels like, oh my gosh, we were vulnerable. Like the United States, somehow it was compromised. And this could have been worse, but it was pretty bad. And this feels like, okay, we've kind of got egg on our face or something. It feels like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How was this breached? How did it happen? How did we allow this to happen? What went wrong? So there's going to be a lot of kind of going back over processes and figuring out, okay, what happened? What made this, how could we have been this vulnerable? Okay. And with that also comes learning, which is good, because things like this happen, you learn from what went wrong, you can take corrective action and clear things up in the future. So this will probably lead to some more secure means of protection of our nation's secrets. I just heard the word encryption key. I don't know what that means. But somehow an encryption key was breached, or somebody was maybe given access who shouldn't have, and they were able to get in somehow. But this was a national security breach. That's what it feels like to me. Again, I'm not saying that I'm just giving you what I get, feelings that I get, just psychic feelings I get. So I don't know anything definitively, but I'm just saying these are feelings I get. But ultimately, I think that this is good in that we'll be able to get a handle on our security and take corrective measures to secure our intelligence apparatus a little bit better. Okay. Next question, I had one more. So Does this have anything to do with the spy satellites that recently went offline that Q told us about? Because I thought, well, you know, we had that big thing, what was it, a week and a half ago, where a bunch of spy satellites went offline that were spying on people. And does this have anything to do with that? I don't feel like it does directly, but this feels like there's there could be some connections on a deeper level. If you want to go kind of in the rabbit hole, go a little deeper. Any type of spying, it feels like there's always threads that connect somehow. I don't feel like this has definitely to do with that specifically, those things going offline a few weeks ago, but there, it just feels like on some level there's a little bit of a connection. Okay. All right, and just overall card. Sometimes I like to look at the bottom of the deck, just kind of gives it overall. This is a card of transformation, walking away from something that was difficult, having to deal with something that was challenging and frustrating, and needing to make changes. And sometimes you have to just sacrifice what you've worked on, scrap it, and start over. And so this feels like a little bit of that. Needing to basically go back to the drawing board, figure out where things went wrong, take corrective action, and move forward. So, okay, that's all I have for this reading. I appreciate you stopping by my channel. If you liked it, leave a like. It helps me out a lot, and I appreciate all my subs. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well. We'll catch you in the next video. Talk to you next time. Intuitive Edge, signing out. Bye-bye.